Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Today I thought I'd take you around the garden a little bit and show you some of the evergreen plantings that we've got so you can see kind of what we are left with after all the deciduous foliage has fallen. And we've got several things that are really great, and I definitely would love to get some more conifers and some more evergreens into the garden. But let me show you what's working well right now. In our front garden, many years ago, I planted these small Korean boxwoods, and they are right next to this arbor that we've got here. You can see it's got some age on it now, and we need to really kind of come in and probably do some restaining on it. But we've got two of them here, one on either side, and they have been very slow growers. You notice that their foliage is very fine compared to what other boxwoods are like. But they're a really nice plant. They grow very slow, and so you don't have to worry about them getting too large or doing too many prunings. This one over here definitely could use a little bit more of a pruning, and it kind of looks like my spacing when I originally planted it was not far enough away from that pole. So just take note of that and consider that if you decide to plant the Korean boxwood. Now this tree was here when we originally bought our house. This is eastern cedar, or a juniper tree. And the berries that come off of them actually can be used to make gin and things like that. Those are edible berries. They're not very tasty. I tried one once and it tasted like eating a pine tree, much like you'd expect, I suppose. But they are a good tree in this area because they pretty much will grow in any condition in the soil. They'll even grow in solid rock. And we like it because it's a good privacy screen. In our shade garden beds, we have some hellebores. Now, hellebores are a perennial plant, but they stay evergreen in the wintertime. They've got some beautiful flowers that come out, but the weird thing about the flowers is they almost always go downward when they grow. They will self-sow, and if you sow the seeds very fresh after they start to produce them, you can get them growing in all kinds of locations. You'll notice here, we've got some little babies right there and here that we can transplant up from the self-sowing. But this is it's an evergreen perennial, and I really like it because it is deer proof. Deer do not bother it, rabbits do not bother it, and I mix it in with the hostas and stuff, and it just completely disguises the hostas that they're there, because they come in, they see the hellebore, and they're like, no, I don't want any of that, let me go somewhere else. And so they eat some other gardener's salad bar. This little evergreen is Pachysandra. Now, Pachysandra is not a native plant, but it does form a really nice ground cover. So if you want some color in some areas that have like a little bit more shade to them, Pachysandra is a pretty good choice to use. It's very easy to take out if you need to. You can just rip it out, and very easy to propagate because pretty much all you got to do is pull up a little section, and you'll notice you get a little bit of root. So all you have to do is stick that piece in the dirt somewhere else, and it'll keep on growing. I planted this hemlock several years ago. There were a total of 3 of them we planted. 2 are still remaining. Not sure why the first one died, but we've got 2 of them, and they're beautiful plants. They are a native plant to Tennessee, but they have the hemlock woolly adelgid, which is a severe pest that will completely come in and destroy the trees. So I'm hoping to plant some more of these in the future at our other property so that we can get some of these growing and, help preserve the hemlock population. Over by our deck, I have these boxwoods planted, and truthfully, this is not a good spot for them. I should have planted them somewhere else in a different location, just because of the proximity to that, and we have field lines that come out of our house from right over there, going straight down this pathway. If we ever needed to get them out, I'm sure it would probably do damage to these trees. But these are the ones that I take cuttings from periodically for the boxwoods, and real easy to do when they've got this extra shoot. But you can see here some of the tender foliage got some frost damage this year. We've had some really cold temperatures in the night, and it just wasn't as happy as it usually is. But it'll bounce back fine. I just need to come in and do a trimming on it. Now these are a type of globe arborvitae, and I'm not real thrilled with the location I put them in either. They will probably get removed here before the end of this coming year. You can see they kind of look a little bit gray right now, like they've got a little bit of some sort of damage to them. Not sure quite what's going on, but we'll figure that out. I think it may be the cold as well, just because it's been a little bit colder than it usually is this time of year in December. And over here, we've got some branches that have fallen down. We've got some Pieris. Pieris is a really nice shade plant. It's not bothered by deer and rabbits. and things, but you do see it's gotten a little bit of frost damage to it this year. Just been pretty cold. It's got some little flowers coming right down there. It's good up near houses and in shade gardens in general. There are some variegated varieties of Pieris too that are very interesting. Our front gardens have got a couple more evergreens here. This one is an arborvitae. I believe it's emerald green. It was a small plant when we got it, and it's definitely grown quite well. Easy to take cuttings of these and get them to root. We've got a few of them in the back. Next to it, we've got these densiformis yew. And yew is also another plant easy to root. And I've been kind of saving this top foliage here so I could go through and just do some cuttings off of it. But I bought them for $5. There's like 5 of them. And they've just done really well. They were on a discount plant rack. Pretty cool plants. Now, they are not good for around animals that might be eating them. Say like your dogs, if they like to chew on stuff. Probably not a good plant to plant because they are poisonous. But again, deer don't bother them, and they'll leave them quite alone. Now this plant here, I had actually tried removing several times. It is nandina, and it's either come up from roots that I didn't get up, or it's come back from berries that it produced. Nandina is it has actually toxic berries that have a little bit of cyanide in them, and so birds like cedar waxwings like to eat them, and it can actually poison those birds. So it's something that I wanted to remove, and it's just been hard to get out of here. I've got lots of little seedlings in this bed as well. I guess they're seedlings. They could be from the roots coming over, but I keep trying to remove them and they never quite get out of here. And I love this little plant here. This is a Camellias obtusa nanolutea, and it is a beautiful small dwarf conifer. It's just really cool here in this garden. I've got it in a glazed pot here so it doesn't freeze over the winter time, and I can just leave it in the pot and move it where I want it to when I want to. And here you can see our lavender is doing quite well this winter. We've got it out in the front area where it's got somewhat of a sheltered location, but I've got 2 pots of this, one there and one right here, and they're doing very good. It's more of a subshrub perennial, not really so much of an evergreen, but it's great in pots, and if you can put it out in your landscape, that's good too. You want to make sure it's got a really good drainage because they don't like getting too wet. And that's one reason why I put it in the pots, because pots dry out a lot faster and it's easier to preserve the lavender over the winter. Unfortunately, you can't see the flowers on this anymore, but this is a camellia, winter snowman, and it is a beautiful flowering plant. It's got these white flowers that go everywhere. Next to the camellia, we have the Otto Luyken cherry laurels. And I did a video on how to propagate them. If you want to learn more about that, I'll link to it. But it's a very common landscape planting. Very easy to grow. They don't have too many problems. They will get what you call a shot hole fungus. That will make the leaves appear like they've got little holes, like somebody took a shotgun and tried to fire it at it. I don't know why you'd do that. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But that's probably the main problem that I have ever had with Otto Luyken cherry laurel. Not too big of one, to be honest. You can do a preventative spray, or you can just do what I do and kind of let it be and then trim it back after it's happened, and then new foliage will come forward that looks nice and fresh. It does flower. You can see here it's got some flower buds coming. Hopefully it's not planning to do that here real soon, because those won't make it. So I hope you enjoyed this little walk around the garden, looking at some of the evergreens. Like I said, I'd love to add some more. Evergreens are something that in the wintertime you just can't ever have enough of. They do really well with creating a nice green landscape, and if you put something that's got red stems to it, like a nice Japanese maple that has red stems, or a red twig dogwood, or some sort of a willow that has the red color to it, or berries, winterberry, I could go on and on. But there's a lot of really good choices you can put up with your evergreens to make it look really nice in the wintertime when there's not a whole lot of color to be had. So anyway, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Love to have you along to show you some more garden stuff as we go forward in 2021. Looking forward to next year. So you have a good one.